Hello, Caps fans. So, big game last night between your Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. You wouldn't know it, though, by the way that the Caps played. Yes, about the only thing that looked good in this game for the Caps was the new reverse retro jerseys, which made their season debut on the backs of a team who unfortunately looked as if they did not even want to be there. Those reverse retro jerseys are straight fire, though. So sexy. You've got the Screaming Eagle logo, the incorporating of the red color scheme of the modern era. They are the Aston Martin of NHL jerseys right now, and the fans clearly agree as well, making them the top-selling jersey across all platforms. And the number 2 top-selling jersey across all platforms, well, that would be the Caps' third jersey this season, a navy blue take on their 2015 Winter Classic jersey. Now, why, you may ask, am I bragging about jersey sales? Well, what the hell else would you suggest I brag about after last night's performance? I will do absolutely anything to stall right now rather than talk about last night's pathetic excuse for a hockey game. So, what would you guys like to talk about? COVID? The US election? Global warming? Hey, maybe we can all just sit here and do our taxes together. That sounds really nice. Unfortunately, delayed pain is still pain, folks, so we might as well just get this over with and do the damn recap of the game. Okay, so the Caps actually did get 2 early power play opportunities in this game, and they, of course, responded by squandering both of them and just never really threatening at all, which is good, actually, because who likes goals anyway, right? What? What do you mean? Nobody told me that. Okay, apparently goals win hockey games. I'll let it go, though, because their power play has been tops in the league pretty much all season long, and even with last night's 0 for 2, yes, that's right, stop me if you've heard that before, but those 2 early power plays were all we would get, as we had already exceeded our daily quota allotted by the league before the end of the first period. That's okay, though, because like I said, even with last night's 0 for 2, they are still clicking at over 30% for this season, 31.9% to be exact, so that's great. What wasn't great was that you could tell right from the very beginning that this was just going to be one of those games where the Caps just were not awake for it. Nor am I awake right now, having been up all night trying to figure out a way that I can make it sound like this game was fun for us. Look at me. I'm 29 years old. I have bags under my eyes. That should be their new slogan, honestly. The Washington Capitals, they will age you faster than the sun. So, Penguins score first on one of their power plays. Evgeny Malkin with his 4th goal in the last 200 games or something. But you know how the Caps love to be generous when it comes to busting slumps for the opposition. You got power play problems, bro? You haven't scored in, 20, 30 games? Hey, you want to get your first NHL goal? Come on over here, we'll help you out. Such philanthropists, those Capitals. Although, for what it's worth, too, I don't think that this is just a slump for Evgeny Malkin. I think that he's aged pretty terribly over the last year or so. He's been awful. Despite the power play goal last night, he's just looked slow and clunky out there, which is fine by me. Great for us moving forward. So, the Caps were outshot 12-6 in the first period. They were down 1-0, and they just generally looked like shit. So, good times. They would answer briefly in the second period, though, scoring a couple of goals to go up 2-1. And one of the few highlights of this game was definitely Richard Panik with a Connor McDavid-like drive to the net and score. Not really sure where the hell that came from for Panik. That's mean, I'm just kidding. Panik's actually been playing some great hockey this season, and he was definitely due for and deserving of a goal. So it was great to see him get one there. Great to see him finally have one hit the back of the net and get rewarded for how great he's been playing this season. And certainly that goal was a beauty. It was a highlight reel one. One of the other few highlights of the game was certainly Connor Sheary, sniping once again against his former team. How good has Connor Sheary been for the Caps? His 5 even strength goals that he has now are tied for the team lead. I just love, he brings a consistent energy and speed every single game. He's been awesome. All of the things that I used to hate him for when he was a Penguin are all of the things that I love him for now. Such is life. Anyways, the good feelings for the Caps would last about as long as a 40-year-old virgin getting it in for the first time, as the lead would last all of 22 seconds before Jake Gensel would get kind of a lucky goal to tie things up. So we were 2-2 heading into the third period, and 2-2 it would remain all the way until overtime. Samantha Pell, we're looking at you. You love overtime, right? She doesn't love overtime. Nobody loves overtime. Again, I refer you to the bags under my eyes. 3 of the 5 games between the two teams have gone to extra time so far this season, with the Penguins winning all 3 of those extra time games. So this was always going to be fun for us Caps fans. And listen, I don't want to question the new coach, Peter Laviolette. I actually think he's done a really good job so far, considering the circumstances. COVID, obviously, things are a little bit different, right? Like, we had a short training camp, no preseason. He's coming to a new team. He has to implement a whole new system for the players as well, like the players that have been here. Third coach in 4 years, right? So it's a lot of change. So all things considered, I think Peter Laviolette has done a very good job so far. That being said, one thing that I will definitely question is the overtime strategy here. Like, Peter, you've got Alex Ovechkin on your team now. He's the NHL's all-time leader. All-time! In over 100 years of NHL history, he is the all-time leader in overtime goals in NHL history. He's on your team. 35 years old now, sure, but he did lead the NHL in goals again last season, so I think the guy can still play. And yet Ovechkin, who, again, has the most overtime goals in NHL history. Once again, he did not get a chance to get on the ice, to get a shift in overtime before the Penguins had scored to end the hockey game. So, like, what's the strategy here? That's all I want to know, because this is becoming a bit of a pattern now about a third of the way into the season. And I'm trying to give Peter the benefit of the doubt here, because, like I said, okay, I get it. You want to start some more defensive-minded players with the last change on home ice to counteract some of the Penguins' top offensive players, right? Okay, cool. So Nick Dowd, your fourth-line center, he starts the overtime period. Okay, cool. It's fine. Everything's fine. And like I said, trying to give Peter the benefit of the doubt. So I will admit that in last night's game, anyway, the strategy kind of worked in the beginning, because Nick Dowd, he started against Sidney Crosby's line, right? And we did not get scored on, so that's good. And Nick Dowd is actually, like, full credit, Nick Dowd is actually a hell of a player, not just in general, but also at shutting down the opposition's top offensive players, right? So, like I said, benefit of the doubt goes to Peter Laviolette. Everything's fine. But where you lose me, Peter, where I start to have a major problem is when the next shift, right, sees Evgeny Kuznetsov and Jakub Vrana jump over the boards. And full disclosure, I love Jake Vrana. I'm a big Vrana fan, okay? And I get it, right? Like, they're both extremely fast. Vrana may be low-key the fastest guy in the entire league, so that's an even bigger advantage with the open ice, right, of 3-on-3 overtime. So I get that part of it. I fully get that part of it. But I also only get that part of it if you don't have Alexander fucking Ovechkin on your team. And Nicklas Backstrom. Like, hey, anybody remember Nicklas Backstrom? 8th in the entire NHL in scoring this season. Remember that guy? Yeah, he didn't get a shift in overtime either. It's okay. It's cool. It's fine. I love losing to the Penguins. Nothing makes me happier, except for maybe having acid thrown in my face. It's not as if Ovechkin is great at scoring goals and Backstrom is great at setting them up or anything either. It's not as if Nicklas Backstrom should have won a few Selke trophies by now either. Nope, he's not a reliable defensive player at all. Nope, not at all. Am I dripping with enough sarcasm yet, or do I have to literally bathe myself in it? So, we get scored on, Kasperi Kapanen, courtesy of an extremely lazy back check by Kuznetsov, which is really just par for the course at this point. I haven't had anything nice to say about Kuznetsov for like 3 years now, so I just won't say anything. You suck, Kuznetsov! Anyways, the one time that Peter Laviolette did start Ovechkin and Backstrom in overtime this season was against the Boston Bruins, and Ovechkin promptly scored the game winner in that one, assisted by guess who? Nicklas Backstrom. So why would we want to do that again? It was just so successful the last time. Why do it again? Personally, I love loser points like I love a good punch in the face by a brass-knuckled Mike Tyson. Woo! Exhilarating, baby! I'm obviously kidding. I do not love loser points, but evidently, Peter Laviolette, he loves them. Anyways, on the bright side, the Capitals, they played obviously one of their worst games of the season, outshot 37-22, and yet they did still take the Penguins to overtime and got the 1 point in the standings. So, That's something. Silver linings, people. And I will say, one positive for the Caps in this game was their physicality. They out-hit the Penguins 31-15. That's something, obviously, you know, the physical side of things that we have come to expect with this roster. I love it, and yeah, out-hit the Penguins again 31-15. That's both a product of the Capitals being an extremely physical team, and of the Penguins just simply being a bunch of whining, crying babies. But them being babies doesn't really do anything for you unless you actually hit them, which the Caps definitely did during this game. So I hope to see that obviously continued. I know that it will, but hopefully next time the Caps can combine that with maybe a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense, a little bit of less sucking, and all other facets of the game. That would be really great. But for now, the physicality side of things, that was exactly what we wanted to see from the Caps in this game. And just a couple of other things to wrap up, just a couple of things that have been bugging me. First of all, and most importantly, why is it that Pierre McGuire is always referring to Chris Letang as Christopher Letang? Every single time. I've never heard anyone else call him Christopher. I'm sure his own grandmother doesn't even call him Christopher. Pierre is the only one who does this. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's not a formal black tie event, Pierre. You're not introducing him as your daughter's date at the debutante ball. He's not being crowned the King of England. It's a fucking hockey game. Get a grip, okay, buddy? Get a hold of yourself. You sound like a douche. And secondly, for all of you armchair goaltending coaches out there, and there are a lot of you, exactly which goal would you like Vitek Vanacek to stop here? Is it the first one where Evgeny Malkin is left all alone in front of the net on the power play and has time to have a cup of tea and a crumpet before deflecting the puck into the net? Or is it the second one, which I'm just watching again right now, a ridiculously lucky and perfect redirection out of midair by Jake Gensel, changing the puck's trajectory so perfectly that he could try that 100 times and he would never do it again? Is that the one that you'd like him to stop? Or perhaps it's the third and final one, a perfectly executed 2-on-1 one-timer with extra open ice in 3-on-3 overtime. Yep, that must be the one. That must be the one that he should have stopped. Come on, folks, this isn't Philly. We don't treat our goalies this way. 34 saves on 37 shots for Vitek, the NHL's Rookie of the Month in January. He's doing something right. Another strong performance. Anyways, that's it for today, babes. We pick it up again on Thursday night, again against the rival Pittsburgh Penguins. Hoping for a much better effort the next time out. And until then, as always, let's go Caps, baby.